Okay, now let's get into this last episode, how we were able to put the sprinkles on top of the ice cream, which is the track, and just, take it to the finish line. It's the last lap. A mix is never a sprint. It's always a marathon. You slowly build these things. Last quick vocal effect I wanted to look over before I jumped into the mastering track. It was just this overlay. It's an overlay was what I call them.
Talk how you really mean it and move if you're still breathing.
Ever so subtle, just a little room reverb to, kind of push it back. And then also using an echo boy with a half note.
Move.
That's it, just a little subtle thing that I just slipped in to the listener. But I know that we already had so much radio effect on this specific background double. That's why I did not go in there and do like another radio effect, like a typical ad lib. But I might be capping. See, I did a low shelf just to make it a little bit more blended into the mix. Let's look at our mastering chain though. I use this as a saturator to make the mix brighter. I see right here that it sounds way louder. It's just the harmonic density. Then for my actual bus compressor, I used an API 2500. I knew I wanted everything to just boom, blop, bloom, blop, bloom, blop, bloom, and bring the mid-range out. So that's why I used the API 2500, understanding that VTA topology is going to give me exactly what I want.
Give this up, knowing all that I was. Don't diss like this shit. Talk how you really mean it and move if you're still breathing.
Taking advantage of mostly the dirty gain, okay? And I have it on manual output, and I'm purposely using this plugin to make it louder, and also the hard knee is shaping my kick the way that I want it to be. So it's like hardly tickling it. It's honestly like half a dB, to be honest. And then we have the OZONE 11. I only use the stabilizer. This is kind of like the upward stuff, and imager. So pretty much wider and a little bit of dynamic EQ.
Give this up, knowing all that I was. Don't diss like this shit. Talk how you really mean it. It might wear more than I do. And all they keep singing about is just you. Only difference is the stage. Still on the same page. It's your
Let me go back to this beat cut part. I just love the way like you hear the rhythm changes and shit. The momentum, it kind of builds like a crazy momentum. I heard it in the car and it was so subtle, that part, but I just like how it builds like mad momentum and the drop right there. And then we have the fresh air to give some mid-range brightness, just a little bit. It gives the vocal a little bit more crack, I feel like, to it sprinkles a little bit of that coke on it.
And only you can judge if I deserve your trust.
So I find myself doing that and giving the mid-range crack. Then I use the soothe on it, and it just kind of just takes out some of the bad frequencies. I describe the suit as glue. Like it really kind of glues the mix together. Just imagine that like now everything is like smushed together a little bit, but it's not even a DB though.
I'm hoping you slip in moments I can't react, 'cause you're broken. I know there's reasons you won't come back. In these four walls, I get reminded of what we had. Is there reception? Girl, I can't give this up, knowing all that I was. Don't dislike the shit, just talk how you really mean it, and move if you're still breathing.
It sounds more like a song, and then at that point I'm prepared for a little bit of clipping that I added here with the Oxford inflator. Used a little bit of that saturation, and I didn't even push any volume.
Girl, I can't
This really just makes the mix sound more hype though.
move if you're still breathing. Move, baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge if I deserve your trust. Baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge if I deserve your trust. I'm hoping you slip it, move if you're still breathing. Move, baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge if I deserve your trust. Baby, it's just hard.
I find myself clicking on the band split a lot because when my low end is dialed in, I kind of don't like to change it. And that's something that you always got to pay attention to. All these plugins you bring in might change your low end. For example, the Fairchild is very known for changing the low end. It might square off. Like you might have a kick that sounds like nice and pointy, but then you put on the Fairchild on your mix bus and now it kind of feels like circular a little bit. So that's something to also pay attention to and even be aware of. Then I use the master plan. I use a little bit of this. This is like a mid-range cleaner, and this is like another almost kind of like a soothe. And it was very important because to use these dynamic processors, because the Oxford inflator is clipping and distorting, and clipping and distortion just kind of, it's gonna bring out some nice parts, but it's gonna bring out some nasty parts too. And then I use the limiter just to get a little bit louder.
Move if you're still breathing. Move, baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge if I deserve your trust. Baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge if I deserve your trust. Move if you're still breathing. Move, baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge if I deserve your trust. Baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge if I deserve your trust.
So I feel like when I use this button right here, I only use it like a little bit, like no more than 10%. And then I probably go back into my mix and start boosting stuff too to compensate for it. 'Cause I like how it sounds to the point where even though I know it's gonna make me like hollow out my mix a little bit, I still use it. And like, okay, I've taken out all the bullshit. Now let me try to add like parts of mid-range that I do like maybe in this area of the beat, with putting in the specter, maybe shifting some things a little bit upwards, still making sure that we still have some warmth to the vocal and stuff like that. Okay, maybe at that point I might have said, okay, let me go back in the vocal chain and add the J37 tape, which is going to give me a mid-range bump. Let me come back to these little vocals right here. Maybe, I've got a filter that's been cutting some stuff. Let me maybe pull it back. Maybe this was on 1,000, then I pull it back to 600. So there's still a sense of mid-range, a cello frequency, a sense of warmth. I use the final plugin. I just use this because I like how the plugin just sounds, bro, just as a run through. To be honest, I just like the modern algorithm, and it just sounded right to me.
Move if you're still breathing. Move, baby, it's just hard, and only
So, that's the thing about when you mix every day and you mix every day for like a couple of years, you start to just know, like, okay, just running through this plugin is going to make it sound better, or running through that tape is going to bring in more low mid, or, you just learn like the byproduct of, these plugins. And that's why I always tell people don't use too many plugins. You feel me? Never try to use too many plugins, because every plugin you add is imprinting a tattoo onto the audio. You feel me? Even if you're not using it at all, it's still just doing something, whether it's oversampling, maybe it's some type of saturation, maybe some type of noise or clipping or distortion that's bringing in there. And or maybe it's like a certain type of saturation algorithm, or their algorithm that is just dithering, you see, on the basses. Okay, let's go back to that real quick. On the basses, right? On the 808 and stuff like that. I did, use this limiter, and I'm not limiting at all. It's not working at all. It's just because of the dithering, because I know it's bringing in noise. And like I always tell you guys, last most important thing is metric AB, going back and forth between that rough. Don't look like a goofball in 2025, and try to take this apple and turn it into a banana. You listen to the song that the people sent you, and you make sure you get it close, but you make it sound more like an actual finished song.
This up, knowing all that I was. This like this see it. Just talk how you really mean it, and move if you're still breathing. Baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge if I decide to serve you trust. Baby, it's just hard, and only you can judge. I deserve your trust. I'm hoping you slip in moments I can't react it, 'cause you're broken. I know there's reasons you won't come back.
So yeah, maybe his drums and his mix, like, they're super upfront, but what about everything else? Like, the lead vocal has to be up front too, you know what I mean? So that's a part of the, getting a mix to sound like a mix, is considering everything in the universe as a community. You feel me? As an overall galaxy, rather than just be like, oh man, the drums on his mix, they hit a little bit harder. Okay, but when the drums hit that hard, right? You got to start thinking about these things, like that's just gonna hit the limiter a little bit harder. It's just gonna distort. You're not gonna hear the transients in the vocal. Like, just having the drums hit so much harder, like how his demo hit, it just distracts from the vocal, because those drums are mid-range energy. So I've got all this mid-range, from the drums, and now the mid-range from the vocal by default will slide back, and it won't become the star. Okay, so that's the thing about it too. In his mix too, the vocals are bright. The both of the vocals are bright in both mixes, but his voice, like everything is bright in his mix, and you can't really distinguish some stuff. So that's why, like, my background vocals are a little bit darker. You can't even hear his background vocals. That's because everything is bright, everything is blending in. So that's how you get some of that depth and stuff like that the Weeknd has. He has this great depth and this great 1980s ethereal type of sound to him, and it comes down to all of these things that we showed in this course. So I just want to say thanks a lot for either purchasing the course or joining the channel membership. I appreciate your support. Email me and let me know how you guys feel about these courses and stuff like that. And I do appreciate you guys a lot. Peace.